guys, welcome back to another episode of Happy Chirp. Today I have with me a very वो वाले गेस्ट जिसकी बहुत ज़्यादा डिमांड नहीं आई होती कि इनको ले भी आए हाय उरूज, हाउ आर यू?
हेलो, आई एम गुड. आप कैसी हैं?
मैं ठीक ठाक. उरूज जो है वो एक लाइफस्टाइल इन्फ्लुएंसर और कंटेंट क्रिएटर हैं एंड शी इज़ बीन डूइंग इट फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम नाउ. पर्सनली आई हैव followed her for quite a long time, really enjoyed and liked her journey, and personally known her for a long time as well because of this community that we have.
Yes.
So Urooj, how are you feeling today?
I feel like मेरा वाइवा होने वाला है.
इस्लामाबाद कैसे आई हुई हो आप?
यार, my sisters are studying here, so we have a home, we have a place, so I keep commuting between Islamabad and two other places. So ये होता रहता है.
So we'll talk a little about के जो तुम्हारी content journey रह चुकी है. I'm sure a lot of people, there are lots of people who don't know you इतने पुराने time से, and they would really like to know कि अच्छा कब स्टार्ट हुआ था, कैसे हुआ था. And I know that you have a story, a journey. So we'll talk about that. But before we get to the content part, I would really like to also discover कि what your early life was like, right? Because जो आपकी early life होती है, it really plays a part in who you are now, right? So let's talk about कि where you were born, what your life was like growing up.
I flex about it. I was born in Murray.
अच्छा.
Yeah. My father was posted in Murray. So I was born there, but बहुत early, like before I was 1, we shifted to Gujranwala. And I spent most of my life in Karachi because of the postings that my father used to have. Like वो सारी उनकी कभी it's in the hard area, if it's in places where we can't go, so we would stay back in Karachi because that was home for us. So I spent a good amount of time in Karachi. Then we shifted to Lahore, and I feel like Lahore was the place that impacted my mindset the most.
Acha, in what sense?
In the sense that my schooling was actually really nice. Like the school that I went
Where
to.
did you go?
It was Garrison. It was APS Garrison.
Acha.
And I have to thank my librarian.
Acha.
Because she was the one who actually pushed me into reading more than I was already reading उससे पहले.
अच्छा.
पहले भी I used to read a lot of books, but कराची में हमारी इतना exposure नहीं था. In Lahore I got into reading, and reading is what actually got me into social media as well, because if you remember, I started with the book account.
A book blog.
Yeah, a book blog, and I used to talk about books. So I think that is where it all started making sense to me.
You had a real passion for books.
Yeah.
So जो book blogging वाला concept है, how did you discover that? और वो कहाँ आपने किस platform और medium पे पहले start किया था? Was it always Instagram?
It was always it was always Instagram.
Didn't you have a Facebook thing?
I did have a Facebook page, but it was not about books. It was more about me writing,
Achha.
I used to write a lot. Like
it was your blog?
It was my blog. Yeah, I used to write cute little passages, and वो जो उस टाइम पे 2013 and 14 वाले लोगों को याद होगा कि हम लोग बड़े obsessed होते थे छोटे छोटे quotations में, वो माई स्पेस और वो उसके ऊपर सारा वो जो सीन चल रहा होता था. तो that is when I started my Facebook account.
How old were you?
I was 17 at that point, or 18 I guess. I don't. हाँ, मैंने FSC की थी. I was 18 and I had like 2 gap years in between. मुझे मेरा medical में admission नहीं हुआ था, मेरा MCAT clear नहीं हुआ था, और मुझे कुछ ना कुछ करना था to keep myself motivated and busy. So that is when I started using Facebook for that medium. And फिर I got into, I remember I got to know about Instagram. It was very in its initial phases. I don't know if you remember. It was the interface was so bad. I didn't enjoy it. I downloaded the app and then I deleted it. And then after a few months I downloaded it again.
वैसे मैंने भी यही किया था कि शुरू में नहीं यूज़ की थी. And it was like तब वो जरा ना एक photographers platform
exactly
था. Like जिन लोगों को pictures खींचने का शौक था, वो aesthetic photos. That's all it was.
हमें Facebook की आदत थी, हमें लिखने की आदत थी, हमें comment और बात करने की आदत थी. वो इतना था नहीं उस टाइम Instagram पे. तो आई रिमेंबर उसके कुछ अर्से बाद मैंने दोबारा इंस्टाग्राम को डाउनलोड किया एंड देन आई वाज जस्ट मैं एक्सप्लोर पे चल रही थी और मैंने एक बहुत ही एस्थेटिक बुक्स की पिक्चर देखी एंड इट वाज सो ब्यूटिफुल. दे वर ऑल पिंक बुक्स एंड बहुत एक वो उसमें एस्थेटिक सा साथ फेरी लाइट्स पड़ी हुई. आई ओपनड इट. इट वाज दिस गर्ल फ्रॉम जद्दा आई गेस.
अच्छा.
Her name was Haya. I still remember her name and her username was Haya is reading.
अच्छा.
And I opened it and I was like यार wow ये मैं भी कर सकती हूँ. ठीक है. तो फिर I remember मेरे पास जो बुक्स थी मैंने उनकी पिक्चर ली, मैंने पोस्ट की और फिर मुझे एक आइडिया आया. मैंने कहा मैं पोस्ट भी कर रही हूँ, कैप्शन भी लिख सकती हूँ, चलो इसका रिव्यू भी लिख देते हैं. और मैंने इसका रिव्यू लिखा और मैंने कहा यार मेरी ऑलरेडी कम्युनिटी है फेसबुक पे, तो लेट्स डाइवर्ट देम टू इंस्टाग्राम एंड टेल देम दैट आई एम गोना बी रिव्यूइंग बुक्स. एंड देन आई स्टार्ट डूइंग दैट. एंड इनिशियली पाकिस्तान में तो इतना कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं था.
हाँ. क्या कहते थे? बुकस्टाग्राम.
Yes. Then I discovered this whole Bookstagram community on Instagram, which was a huge community at that time. It ज़्यादातर बाहर के ही थे, ज़्यादा जर्मनी, USA यहाँ के लोग थे.
बिकॉज यहाँ पर अभी
इतना था नहीं. पर बहुत वेलकमिंग कम्युनिटी थी. एंड आई एन्जॉयड इट सो मच. आई रिमेंबर बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ अ लॉट ऑफ बुक क्लब्स, रीडिंग एवरी मंथ एंड डिस्कसिंग इट ऑन किक. इफ यू रिमेंबर किक वाज an app as well. किक के ऊपर there were groups and used to discuss, and that is how then it flourished into my Bookstagram and then later on lifestyle और वो सारा कुछ.
अच्छा. So अच्छा. so मुझे याद है कि देयर वाज अ पीरियड बिटवीन दिस टाइम जिसमें यू हैड स्टार्टेड like you know your account जिसमें you posted about yourself and you used to like मतलब थोड़ा सा lifestyle की तरफ आप थी, but you were not active. You know like तुम बहुत occasionally आती थी, करती थी, और तुमने कभी उसको I think उस point पे like why तुम एक टाइम था when you were what was that?
मैं कभी नहीं चाहती थी कि मेरे followers ज़्यादा हों. Because I knew the consequences and I knew the cons that platform would bring.
Okay.
And I knew that the family that I came from, they wouldn't be that appreciative of that. Like they were appreciative of my Bookstagram because again my face wasn't showing. But at that point, back in 2016 and 17 and 18, I think you also remember how hard it was for us to have like a public account where we're doing what we're doing. तो I remember जब मेरे 10,000 followers हुए थे ना, तो मुझे बड़ी खुशी हुई थी. पर at the same time मैंने अपनी दोस्त को कॉल की, तहलील को कॉल किया. मैंने कहा तहलील, I don't want followers. You know, it's scaring. It's scaring the shit. Like it's actually making me extremely anxious. I don't know what the future holds.
I think हर creator की journey में ये आता है कि when suddenly like people start following you, so obviously it's a very scary thing and to be so out there.
Exactly. And उस time पे I don't know what it was, but a lot of pages, the famous pages, like, can I say the names?
I don't mind.
Okay, like Mango Bars and Parlo, they used to pick up on my stories and my posts as well, because this time I was in my second or third year of BDS and I was talking about my journey as a dental student, and for them it was a good story to cover. So I remember a few of my posts being reposted and then a lot of influx of followers and
traction.
traffic, and that was very scary. At that point फिर एक point आया जब मैंने कहा कि जान दे देख लेंगे, अब आगे अब जो होना है वो देख लेंगे, because I used to enjoy it and I used to enjoy the connection that I was building with my audience.
एक community बन रही थी,
community बन रही थी, और बहुत carefully curated community थी, क्योंकि मेरा content और मेरा काम इस तरह का था कि मेरे पास एक बड़ा एक specific niche के लोग आते थे.
Because of the things you were talking about.
Exactly. हाँ. More than the pictures, it was the captions and you know people interacting with them. तो I knew कि मेरी community बहुत quality वाली build हो रही है. तो मैंने कहा यार होने दो, चलो देख लेंगे, time आएगा तो देखेंगे फिर क्या होता है.
हाँ. And then what about, because you mentioned that your family might not appreciate, so how did that then play into this?
अच्छा, मैंने इनिशियली तो बड़ा आराम से अपनी मम्मा को बताना स्टार्ट किया. मैंने कहा अम्मी इस तरह से, मेरी अम्मी ने कहा नहीं ये नहीं करो ना, ये नहीं करो, बहुत मसला होगा. मुझे पता था मसला होगा. फिर एक दफ़ा हुआ ये कि मेरा अकाउंट, रिमेंबर आई गॉट हैक्ड. आई हैड 50,000 फॉलोअर्स देन, और मैं बड़ी उस टाइम पे परेशान थी कि मेरा अकाउंट हैक हो गया. मैंने इतनी ये एक बहुत स्टूपिड स्टोरी है जो मैं हमेशा बताती हूँ. मैंने लिटरली हैकर्स को क्रिप्टो करेंसी में पैसे भी दिए थे, ठीक है, और उन्होंने मुझे मेरा अकाउंट वापस नहीं किया. एंड देन कोई अल्लाह का फरिश्ता था यार, मुझे एक रैंडम मेरे दूसरे ऑल्टरनेट अकाउंट के ऊपर DM आया कि मैं किसी को इंस्टाग्राम में जानता हूँ, आई कैन हेल्प यू. मुझे वो ईमेल नहीं मिलती दोबारा कि वो ईमेल किधर है, वो बंदे का DM किधर है.
अच्छा.
हाँ, आउट ऑफ द ब्लू. एंड देन ही ईमेल्ड मी एंड देन इंस्टाग्राम ईमेल्ड मी एंड देन दे गेव मी माई अकाउंट बैक एंड आई वाज सो हैप्पी कि चलो शुक्र है वापस आ गए. और इसके लिटरली 2 महीने बाद ना मेरी फैमिली में से किसी ने बहुत लगा चढ़ा के बात को मेरे अब्बू के सामने किया कि एक होता है ना, आपने अपने टर्म्स पे अपने टाइम पे एक चीज़ बतानी होती है, तो वो आप उस चीज़ के लिए आप तैयार होते. एक होता है, अब आई वॉज रेडी टू हैव दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन विद माई फादर, आई वॉज रेडी टू टेल हिम, आई वॉज रेडी, बट आई वॉज वेटिंग फॉर द टाइम. आई वॉज वेटिंग टू बी एट अ पॉइंट वेयर आई कैन प्राउडली गो टू हिम एंड से कि दिस इज़ द प्लेटफॉर्म दैट आई हैव बिल्ड. तो वो उससे पहले किसी ने जाके बता दिया.
हाँ, आपको होता है ना कि यू टू एक्चुअली टेल दीज थिंग्स टू योर पेरेंट्स, यू हैव टू प्रूव सर्टन थिंग्स कि यार देयर इज़ नथिंग रॉन्ग विद इट, लुक आई हैव डन सो मच, इसमें कोई ख़राबी नहीं है. वो चीज़ आप खुद ही समझा सकते हो. Until it when it comes from somebody else, your parents get really
exactly. वो बहुत एक weird चीज़ हो जाती है. और फिर मेरे अब्बू का मुझे एक voice note आया. I remember sitting and listening to it and my spine going cold and I was like, अब क्या होगा, अब मैं क्या करूँ, ये क्या हो गया. मेरे अब्बू को तो लगता है मैंने मॉडलिंग स्टार्ट कर दिया. और फिर मैं अपनी अम्मी को फ़ोन किया और मेरी अम्मी वाज लाइक, मैं तुम्हें कह रही थी. फिर मैंने अपने भाई को फ़ोन किया. मेरे भाई ने फिर मुझे थोड़ा सा समझाया कि तुम थोड़ा सब्र करो, सुकून करो, इट्स ओके, थोड़ा टाइम दो, उसके बाद बात करना. तो फिर then I remember having a very emotional conversation with my father where I was literally crying on the voice notes and telling him कि ये ऐसे है, इस तरह से, उस तरह से. And gradually when he saw how it was working out, and obviously हमने बड़ा changing time देखा है. जब हमने शुरू किया था तब हम कुछ और थे और अब it's like something that's very normal and people look up to it. And and then my father's course mates daughters, whenever they would meet him, they would be like, oh, we know your daughter and we really like her and can you tell her that we really like her and she has impacted us in that way or this way.
तो फिर उनको खुशी होती होगी कि यार this is not just modeling or
exactly,
something. Yeah.
And then he also up until very recently when he saw my first podcast, he saw that and he was like, I'm very proud of the things that you said. And then when I went to see the Prime Minister, वो सारी चीज़ें उनके लिए बड़ी एक थी कि अच्छा हाँ
वो basically बहुत सारी चीज़ों को उनके लिए validate कर देते हैं.
हाँ, exactly. So now it's all good, it's chill, it's fine. But it was a process, it was a journey. It was a journey that made me realize that I do not want to give up on this thing because I've worked really hard.
तो उस चीज़ की वैल्यू आपको खुद भी समझ आती है. You know when you have to fight for it, like how much do you really want to fight for this?
Exactly. More than about Instagram, हमना, it was about my willingness to do something. Why must somebody else, not my father, not my mother, but someone else dictate it?
Yeah.
Why must somebody from my family dictate it? Not just for this Instagram, for everything in life. If I know what I'm doing, मुझे मेरे दिल में पता है यार मैं ठीक कर रही हूँ, तो वो लोग क्या कहेंगे वाली चीज़ शुरू से मुझे बहुत ना एक
because it robs you of your free will.
Exactly.
To live the way that you want to live your life in an authentic way कि यार मैंने इस तरह गुजारनी है अपनी ज़िंदगी. You know, और ये आपकी ज़िंदगी है. उन्होंने तो ना आपके बाद में बिल देने हैं, ना कुछ ना कोई आपसे ताल्लुक है. जो बात है. और अब वही लोग मुझे आके बोलते हैं कि ओह वाओ तुमने ये किया.
Very hard to relate. And I remember having this conversation with my brother when I was like, maybe I'll grow out of it in a few years. Maybe it won't last. It's internet, man. Things change, you know. Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't even feel like doing it in a few years.
But this is what I feel right now.
And if somebody's telling me I have to stop doing it in order to get this, I'm not gonna do that. Because जो मैंने शायद चीज़ 1-2 साल में छोड़ देनी है, मतलब give me my time, let me learn from my experiences. Do not tell me how to learn from things you might think are right and wrong for me. You know, not for my parents, but for the people who are barely there. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Like,
and who genuinely don't care.
They don't care, exactly. You know, honestly, they don't care.
And they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. यही बात है ना, मतलब आप
why do you care
what I'm doing with my life? How does it affect you?
yeah
You know, एक वो वाली बात भी आ जाती है. तो
they only care enough to say stuff about
Exactly.
you, but they don't actually care about you.
Yeah, but
so there's a difference.
हाँ, लोगों को बस वो एक होता है ना, मज़ा ले लिया and that's it. आके बात कर दी, okay, we have dropped the bomb, now let's move on, drop the other bomb.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
अब यहाँ पे जो हो रहा है, जो distraction है, that's not our, क्योंकि
that's just for us to enjoy.
क्योंकि हम ना, if I actually care about something that you are doing, I would come straight to you and talk to you. I would not go to your family and say कि वो अच्छा आपकी बेटी तो ये करी है तो अब आप देख लें. नहीं, अगर मुझे वाकई में फिक्र है ना कि तुम क्या कर रही हो, तो मैं तुमसे आगे कॉन्वर्सेशन करूँगी कि यार ये चीज़ मुझे लग रहा है, you're doing it, तो प्लीज़ यू नो दिस इज़ व्हाट आई थिंक. तो ये देयर इज़ अ डिफरेंस. तो वो वाला सीन भी था.
Okay, so from that time to now, ठीक है, I think that's a lot of years of creating content and evolving as a creator
Creator as well,
ठीक है. So what are some things that you feel like आपने learn किए हैं, or that basically like एक होता है ना कि आप जब कोई चीज़ करते हो, that this is your career, right? How do you think that has impacted you as a person? What are some things that you have learned through being a creator?
I have
About people, about yourself, about the internet.
About the internet. Yeah, I think I've learned the one of the biggest thing that I've learned is to take difference of opinion. And I feel very happy about it. I've learned to take difference of opinion. I have also learned to appreciate that what is now won't be tomorrow. Because I've seen all the highs and lows. तो मुझे ना एक चीज़ की बड़ी मुझे I don't know how to put it, but somehow for me, I'm only going to speak for myself, it has grounded me a bit. Because I've seen a time where my reach was phenomenal. Then I've seen a time where my reach was like, what is happening, man? ये क्या हो रहा है? और फिर मैंने ना एक चीज़ ये देखी कि ये जो validation हम लोग, the validation that we have with numbers now, it's nothing to be I have learned not to rely on the validation that numbers give me, because I know कि ये internet is a place where एक चीज़ आपकी इतनी तेज़ी से उड़ती है और एक चीज़ आपकी इतनी तेज़ी से कम हो जाती है. तो वो चीज़ें मैंने सीखी कि अपने काम पे focus, and regardless of how it's being you know appreciated by the internet. क्योंकि मैंने उस दिन एक चीज़ पढ़ी थी इंटरनेट पे कि अगर असल ज़िंदगी में 50 लोग आके आपको बोले आप अच्छे लग रहे हो, तो कितना बड़ा मजमा होगा. और इंटरनेट पे वो मैटर ही नहीं करता कि 50 आपकी पिक्चर के ऊपर लाइक्स आए हैं या 50 कमेंट्स आए हैं. इट्स एक्चुअली अ लॉट, बिकॉज हम लोगों ने इतना ज़्यादा कंपटीशन अपने लिए टफ कर लिया है ना. तो दिस इज़ व्हाट आई हैव लर्न. आई हैव ऑल्सो लर्न यही टू टेक द डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन. ये तो मेरे लिए एक बहुत बड़ी, जैसे कहते हैं ना, क्योंकि व्हेन आई वाज ऑन फेसबुक आई रिमेंबर getting into so many arguments on, वो याद है एक टाइम था जब हम सब कमेंट्स जिहादी थे और हम हर वक्त like I used to fight a lot through comments.
सब keyboard warriors बने थे.
Now I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but this is where I'm coming from. I'm pretty proud of it, and I'm pretty sorted about where I'm coming from, and I appreciate that you think that I'm wrong, but
I don't need to convince you.
Exactly, I don't need to convince you. We can coexist in harmony. You know, if you don't like me, it's okay. There are literally a million more people for you to choose from. You don't have to necessarily like me. तो वो चीज़ I've stopped. People pleasing बहुत कम हो गई, and I think people pleasing is something that I used to do a lot back in the day, because एक चीज़ होती है ना, आप कहते हो यार हर बंदा मुझसे खुश रहे, आप भी खुश,
everybody should love you,
please. But not everybody can like you. Even if they want to, even if they try, even if you try, you cannot make everybody happy. And वो एक चीज़ होती है, in the process of making everybody happy ना, आप हर किसी को ना खुश रखते हो, फिर आपका यही हो जाता है कि यार ये तो हर किसी को खुश रखता है. So as long as you're true to yourself, and you are okay with who you are, you can peacefully coexist with other people as well. And that is what I tell people as well, कि it's okay if you don't like me, if it's okay if you don't agree to something that I'm saying, you don't have to. You know, this is something that I've learned through all of these years.
Okay, so I asked this question from a lot of creators, so I'm going to ask you as well कि Instagram पे ना, and I think I really want to ask you, because you're a pretty old creator. I think one of the first few
I'm
ones.
at the verge of retiring now. Retirement.
So you know the platform Instagram, it was very different at the time. ठीक है, जैसे अगर मैं अपनी बात करूँ तो for me it was a blogging platform. It was more about what we wrote, and it was a more authentic platform क्योंकि उसमें होता था कि अब सबकी यूनिक आइडेंटिटी होती थी, एंड इट वॉज अबाउट वॉट यू एज एन इंडिविजुअल ब्रॉट टू द टेबल एज एन इन्फ्लुएंसर, राइट? नाउ ओवर द ईयर्स द प्लेटफॉर्म हैज़ इवॉल्व्ड इन सच अ वे के there is lack of authenticity because everybody is
following a trend
and doing the same thing, right?
You're right.
And you know that if you want to have a certain amount of reach or a certain amount of numbers,
you have to do a certain amount of
specific thing. You have to do a certain thing, and you have to let go of the authenticity.
Yeah,
you have to jump on the trends, you have to jump on the bandwagon.
I agree.
So how do you think that has affected your journey? Do you think that you found it very easy? Because see, for me, मैं अपनी बात करूँ तो I find it really hard to give up my authenticity on the platform, and which is why one of the reasons that I switched to this medium was because, see, for me, Instagram was always a means to an end. ठीक है, and the end was to create change. But when the means becomes a place जहाँ पर एक तो authenticity is not appreciated, where everything has to be done really quick and fast and conveyed fast. The thing is that fast-paced content doesn't actually result in value. ठीक है, so आप value अगर टिंग 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 करके दे दोगे, ठीक है, तो उसमें it lacks context, it lacks real value. It's just something that you're telling people for. So for me, if the end is not being reached, then the means become
useless.
So for me, Instagram is just like, if there is no real conversation happening there, if it's not deriving any real change, I'd rather not, even if my entire career is sort of based on that. So matlab, I just do on that platform what I sort of feel like doing, right? उसमें चलो ठीक है, opportunities आ जाती हैं, कर लेती हूँ, but that is something that I'm now doing to survive, and this is something that I actually enjoy doing, because this is where I, no matter what, because YouTube is something that is new for me, podcast is something that is new for me, right? But this is more true to me because here I am trying to generate real value. The means to the end has changed. So I would like to understand, because you were one of the first few people, for you, what was the platform and how do you feel about what it's now?
When initially I started, I feel like everybody had equal exposure, which mattered a lot. It was not about, जब चीज़ें कैपिटलाइज और कमर्शलाइज होना स्टार्ट हो जाती है ना, तो तब जाके उन चीज़ों में कंपटीशन आना, वो पता है हर चीज़, एवरीथिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड इज अ रेस ऑफ सर्वाइवल ना, वो डार्विनिज्म इज एवरीवेयर.
हाँ, ट्रू,
हर जगह पर है. ठीक है, सर्वाइवल ऑफ द फिटेस्ट चल रहा है ना, ठीक है. और
I don't actually think there's anything wrong with that.
I agree to that, because obviously when a marketplace is becoming saturated, the competition is rising. When the competition is rising, so obviously you have to make sure that only the people who are truly deserving of being in that place are there. But that does not mean that somebody who is not doing good is not deserving of being there.
Right.
It's just that he is not, I don't know how to put it. For example, अब जिस तरह, you're right, अब fast content is बहुत चल रहा है, fast content. I remember the time where people would take out the time to listen, to read लंबे captions, and communicate and interact. Now it's all about reels और सब कुछ तेज़ी से, सब कुछ 15 सेकेंड में हो रहा है, 15 सेकेंड में हो रहा है. And यही चीज़ लगती है कि because the place has become so saturated, because obviously हम ना, when we started, when we were in the initial phases, there were like what, 20 girls doing it, 25 girls doing it, maximum 1,000 or 100 girls doing it.
I don't know, like I think when I started there was like 6-7 people doing it.
यही था ना, मतलब अगर बहुत भी पूरे पाकिस्तान से निकालो तो कोई 10, 20, 25, 100 हो जाएंगी maximum. अब everybody is doing it. And when everybody is doing it, the competition, the things are becoming so redundant. Even मैं अगर अपनी बात करूँ ना, तो मेरा दिल नहीं करता अक्सर इंस्टाग्राम पे बस स्क्रॉल करने का, बिकॉज एक गाना आएगा ना, लिटरली मैंने देखा है कि एक के बाद एक वीडियो में वो गाना है, ठीक है, तो वो ओरिजिनलिटी, एंड पता है, आई कांट रियली ब्लेम पीपल.
Yeah, no, of course
because
not.
saturation affects everybody equally. I've literally seen times where I would think about a concept and I would see it being executed the next day and I'm like, यार इसने मेरे दिमाग में घुस के ये बात देखी है. फिर I'm like, नहीं. जब आप एक ही जगह पे काम कर रहे हो तो आप similar thoughts are crossing your mind. Some people are quick in executing them, some people are not. ठीक है. तो ये सारे factors are obviously affecting Instagram as well. And then मैंने एक चीज़ ये भी देखी है कि I don't know if I think you do know about my videos that I've been doing for the younger me वाली series. वो 1-1.5 मिनट की 2 मिनट की which अभी के टाइम पे इट्स काफ़ी लंबी ड्यूरेशन है. वो 10 मिनट वाला तो किसी के पास भी स्टेमिना नहीं रहेगा. They did pretty well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because you basically need to find how to give value
exactly
in a limited amount of
time. And also I feel like when people are seeing so many things being done by so many people, they somehow start appreciating something that is a bit different.
Yeah, breath of fresh air.
Exactly. And I still get so many obviously those were very authentic videos that I made when I was actually really feeling them. And now I get फिर ये भी होता है, I start getting DMs कि why aren't you making them anymore? And like I don't feel authentic while making something for the sake of making it.
Yeah, it has to come
from. It's not coming to me, you know. मैं उस phase में नहीं, उस zone में नहीं हूँ कि वो zone था कि मैं सोच रही थी.
See, so that's the thing ना, यही बात है कि देखो, you're very right about the competition because जब competition होता है and everybody's churning out content really fast, then you take out content for the sake of taking out content because everybody's doing it so much rather than really waiting or looking for that inspiration or that creativity to actually pull out something that is very authentic to you. And जब आपको fast करना होता है, obviously you can't be as creative.
Exactly. And
you don't always feel inspired. But if you have to roll out videos,
exactly,
of course they're going to lack true inspiration.
That is consumer urgency. That's the term I can think of. क्योंकि देखो ना, अगर मैंने एक वीडियो पोस्ट की है ना, वही वाली तुम्हारी बात है कि वो इतनी एक सिर्फ एक फास्ट वीडियोस भी नहीं है, एक फास्ट रीच भी है. हाँ. I posted those videos instantly. Let's say 10k people followed me. Those 10k people are expecting me to make more of those videos. Yeah. मेरी जो audience मेरे साथ चलती आ रही है ना, उसकी मुझसे वो urgency नहीं है.
Because they know you, they've spent their time with you.
But the power of not having equal, this is the power of not having equal exposure for all of your content. कि जो content को exposure मिल रहा है, उसके लिए audience आ रही है, फिर वो audience आपसे वो demand कर रही है. फिर वो demand,
because that's why they're following you.
Exactly. वो demand urgency create कर रही है, and that is draining you of your motivation. Because I did not make that video because I thought, so I'm gonna make a lot of videos like that and gain a lot of followers. But when I did post that video and I did gain followers, it instantly वो एक आपके अंदर एक क्या बोलते हैं उसको, एक rush of dopamine or serotonin or whatever you call it, and you're like, no, now I have to make more of these because this is what's bringing me audience, this is what's making me stand out, and that deprives you of motivation. So because it becomes work.
Yes, because it's not just about work, right? So it's also because then it's जो validation वाली बात है. You are doing it for the validation. It's not about what you're feeling right now or what's true to you or what you feel like doing. So ये वाली जो चीज़ है ना कि there's, I think sometimes, I think for every creator you feel sometimes you will feel, a lot of the times when you and the place that the audience is in and you're in is at the same page, and that's the best place to be in. But sometimes people want something from you
and you're not in that position or place to give it.
But I also feel like people who have been very authentic on the platform and people who have followed them for a very long time, if they do things that are not authentic or inauthentic, people can see right through it.
Exactly.
This is, और वो आपको response से पता चल जाता है that even if it's something that is doing really well for others and you do it,
exactly,
and you do it doesn't bring, you're like, फलाना करता है तो इसमें तो बहुत likes आते हैं,
मेरे में क्यों नहीं आ रही? अब जैसा for me,
because it's not true to you and people can see that.
I can't lip sync. For the love of God, I can't lip sync.
Yeah, I saw one video जिसमें you said कि मैंने बड़ी मुश्किल से lip sync
की है, ठीक है. अब मैं इतनी कोशिश करती हूँ, मुझसे नहीं वो expressions निकलते. Some people they do it so effortlessly. I cannot, for the love of God, TikTok. मैंने बहुत कोशिश की है, मुझसे मैंने इतनी दफ़ा, मुझे टिकटॉक के डांस करने का इतना शौक है हमना, मुझे इतना पसंद है. आई डोंट नो हाउ दे डू इट, प्लीज टीच मी. यू डू इट रियली वेल, ठीक है. आई सीन योर वीडियोस, दे आर रियली क्यूट. व्हेन आई डू इट ना, तो ऐसा लगता है कि कोई बंदा जो आउट ऑफ प्लेस है वो कोशिश कर.
Senorita type cheese. What was that? That was so good. You did it with your sister.
पर वो वाले जो डांस नहीं होता वो बड़े मैंने आई थिंक नहीं होता, ठीक है. एक वो आजकल चला हुआ है ना, my money don't jiggle jiggle, it falls. Like this. Oh, it's so catchy. I'm like, my money don't jiggle jiggle. I'm like, don't sit down. ना करो, रहने दो. Good, enjoy करो, ठीक है. एक और गाना था वो वाला, In a minute, I'm a needle, sentimental, man or woman, pump me up. उसमें एक स्टेप है जिसमें वो यूं करती है और फिर वो यूं करती है. इतना फ्लॉलेस लगता है लोग जब कर रहे होते हैं. और जब मैं करती हूँ मैं कहती हूँ तुम क्या कर रही हो, तुम घूमरो मत करो, बैठ जाओ, सुकून करो, ठीक है. तो आई फील लाइक कि हाँ ये है जो चीज़ मेरे लिए नहीं है ना यार, वो मैंने छोड़ दिया उस चीज़ को करना. सही है, मैं नहीं कर सकती. अच्छी बात. मैं जो कर सकती हूँ वो देख लो, जो मैं नहीं कर सकती उसमें मैं ट्राई नहीं कर सकती.
So the thing is that I think right finding that balance between what people are enjoying a lot on the internet and what feels true to you is extremely important, because at the end of the day, as a creator, and if it's a career and it's an industry, आपको evolve तो करना है. However, I do feel like कि if jumping on trends and just doing what people want is something that is not sustainable, in the sense ke, because that means ke those people are not following you for you, they're following you because
there's no connection.
Yes,
there's no connection.
So those followers are fleeting.
There's no connection, there's no authenticity.
The lack of connection means that they're not going to stay
for making the same content for a long time. They're going to unfollow you. They're going to be like, oh yaar nahi, maza nahi aa raha, you know.
Yeah.
So
and like for me, it was always about building that community, having an
meaningful conversation. So where if my follower is seeing me do something, they know कि ये यहाँ से आई है. ये अच्छा उरूज 3 साल पहले इस तरह से थी, इस तरह से यहाँ तक इस तरह से आई है, ठीक है. वो ऑब्वियसली अब जो मुझे आप फॉलो करें वो आज से 2 साल में शायद ये बात समझ सकेंगे. बट हाँ, इट इज, आई फील लाइक स्टिल आई वुड रादर हैव just my followers appreciating and knowing what I'm doing instead of gaining बहुत fast numbers, and then people, because ये वाली चीज़ भी बहुत आपको अफेक्ट करती है कि वो जो चीज़ होती है ना जिसमें आपको बहुत फास्ट फॉलोअर्स मिल रहे होते हैं और आपकी ऑथेंटिसिटी बिल्ड नहीं हो रही होती, तो वहाँ पे जब कनेक्शन नहीं बन रहा होता ना, तो वहाँ पे you start losing interest in that particular platform as well, because you know that people don't care unless and until you're relevant. You know, and I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be somebody who's just always fighting to be relevant. अच्छा मैं ये कर लूँ मैं relevant हो जाऊँ, मैं ये कर लूँ मैं relevant हो जाऊँ. I'd rather stay relevant with my relevant people following me, who are like हाँ ये उरूज है, ये हमना है, ये उरूज है, ये हमना का काम है, ये उरूज का काम है, हमना ऐसे करती है. बड़ा अच्छा लगता है जब कोई बंदा बोले हाँ, we remember from that time that you used to do this and this is how it turned out. No, that I would rather settle for that.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now let's come to your other side of profession, which is dentistry.
Yes, please.
So what's the update on that? And like how, because you know, with content creation becoming your career and it's a full-time job.
Yeah, it is.
How do you see yourself as a dentist in that?
So being a dentist wasn't always a passion for me. It was something I initially started because of the fact that doctor बनना है.
अच्छा.
मतलब डॉक्टर हैं तो होता था हमारे पे प्रेशर था, हमें प्रिपेयर ही डॉक्टर बनने के लिए किया जाता था. अब आके मैं इस बात को बहुत प्रीच करती हूँ कि प्लीज़ डू नॉट प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ टू बी जस्ट अ डॉक्टर और एन इंजीनियर, बिकॉज दैट्स नॉट हाउ थिंग्स वर्क. But when I started my college life, and when I was in probably 3rd year, I fell in love with the profession. I honestly fell in love with it. I love the beauty of how intricate this field is. Just one set of teeth, just the head and the things you can do with it.
Yeah, for me, I think the best part about dentistry is that it gives you a very high sense of achievement.
It
because
does.
You know, when someone comes to you, you give that solution right away. आप कुछ करते हो, and then you that person leaves with a change, whatever that change is, or a relief of pain.
Exactly.
It has a quick sense of achievement and a very good feeling of reward.
Exactly. And especially when you are in the ortho rotation and you see the closing cases जिसमें लोगों के braces उतर रहे होते हैं, फिर आप उनकी previous case file देखते हो, आप उनका up देखते हो. And I've seen patients crying because they're so happy. पूरी profile change हो रही है. And how physics is incorporated and maths is incorporated, और जैसे chemistry आ रही है और organic. मेरे लिए एक बहुत fascinating चीज़ थी. मतलब I was like a wide-eyed बच्चा
looking at all store.
हाँ, I was like,
kid in a candy store vibe.
मेरे लिए एक बड़ा मज़े का टाइम था जब मैं ऑर्थो में गई और ज़िंदगी में पहली दफ़ा मैंने ज्योमेट्री बॉक्स में से जो वो वाले स्केल्स होते हैं ना, जो ट्रायंगल और उसको यूज किया. मैंने कहा मैंने मैथ्स में कि अच्छा इसका
ऑर्थो तो इज फुल ऑफ इट.
अच्छा इसका ये क्या होता है,
ऑल द एंगल्स.
एग्जैक्टली. एंड for me, when I graduated, I was super proud of the fact that I am a dentist and I wanted to pursue it. But the thing is that वो एक बंदे के वो छन से जो टूटे कोई सपना वाला सीन होता है ना. Because when I graduated, the graduation blues are so real because of the economy and how things are changing and how there are no opportunities for us, for dentists especially.
Yeah, like we discussed yesterday, there's a lot of gatekeeping in the industry.
There's a lot of gatekeeping and
the growth is slow. वो आपको like for a very long time they don't let you do anything. Then the pay is like it's below minimum wage, yaar.
Exactly.
In a lot of the clinics.
Exactly. If you do get a job in one of अब सबसे बड़ा मुझे ये चीज़ लगती है, and I'm sorry if somebody disagrees to it, but हर हॉस्पिटल के साथ एक टीचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट एसोसिएटेड है.
अच्छा.
आप इतने डेंटिस्ट प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो, आप उनको जॉब्स नहीं दे रहे हो.
बिल्कुल आप सही कह रहे हो.
और अगर मुझे एक टीचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट में जॉब मिल रही है, आई एम गेटिंग अ जॉब एज अ डेमोन्स्ट्रेटर. आई एम अ टीचर बेसिकली. आई एम नॉट प्रैक्टिसिंग माई प्रोफेशन बिकॉज आई एम लेटिंग द स्टूडेंट्स लर्न.
And most of the people are now becoming demos after graduating, because actually being a demo pays you more. And as a dentist, and the thing is that they expose you to so much learning during your third and final year
that you are so filled with that passion.
और आपको इतना कुछ actually में करना आता है, but in the clinic they don't let you do anything.
Exactly. क्योंकि हमारा clinical exposure I think medical colleges में is more than MBBS.
अच्छा खासा होता है.
अच्छा हम लोग OT
बहुत hands on होता है हमारा.
हाँ, हम OT भी अटेंड कर रहे हैं, हम सूचरिंग भी कर रहे हैं. हमें अगर कोई अच्छा टीचर मिला तो प्लेटिंग भी आपको करने दे रहा है. आई रिमेंबर माई सर्जरी डिपार्टमेंट वॉज वेरी नाइस. आई स्टिल ओ देम अ लॉट, क्योंकि उन्होंने मुझे बहुत कुछ सिखाया है. वो आपसे एक्सट्रैक्शंस, क्लोज एक्सट्रैक्शंस भी करवा रहे हैं, इम्पैक्शंस भी करवा रहे हैं. उसके बाद फिर वो आपको OT के अंदर आपको प्लेटिंग भी करने दे रहे हैं. तो आपको इतनी सर्जन फील आ चुकी है कि जब आप ग्रेजुएट करके क्लिनिक में जा रहे हो, तो क्लिनिक में तो पहली बार तो ऑपरेशन हो नहीं रहा,
ऊपर लेके आपको बहुत काम.
एग्जैक्टली.
आई थिंक हॉस्पिटल्स में काम करना फिर थोड़ा बेहतर होता है. जिस तरह मेरा जो पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस रहा था ना, दैट आई वर्कड इन अ हॉस्पिटल just a couple of years ago.
I remember.
And that was just the best experience that I had, because they were so like the entire like आपको पूरे वो मिले होता था surgeries, और आप you were allowed to do बहुत hands on work, right? You just had an assistant and you had your patients, and it was really good like that. So जहाँ वहाँ सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट और जो लर्निंग मैंने की थी, लाइक एज कम्पेयर टू एनीबडी हु हैड ग्रेजुएटेड विद मी, आई हैड डन सो मच मोर बिकॉज आई वॉज वर्किंग इन दैट हॉस्पिटल. सो आई हैड डन टन्स एंड टन्स ऑफ रूट कनाल्स, लाइक हंड्रेड्स ऑफ देम, एंड सो मच वर्क. एंड ऑल्सो हमारा वहाँ उस हॉस्पिटल का सर्जरी डिपार्टमेंट बहुत अच्छा था. सो सीन ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ cases.
I know, exactly.
तो वो उसमें जो था that was a really good experience. But when I switched to working in clinics, it was so demotivating.
Exactly.
I was like, and I just left.
Suction वो एक inside joke है ना कि अगर तुमने suction नहीं सीखी तो तुमने सीखा क्या? suction ही करनी है पूरी जिंदगी खड़े होके. अगर आपने एक senior के साथ खड़े होके सिर्फ पेशेंट के मुंह में सक्शन मशीन पकड़ के खड़े होना है, आपने स्केलिंग कर देनी है, तो व्हाट आर यू रियली लर्निंग? तो आई फील लाइक, एंड देन यू डोंट हैव द रिसोर्सेज. नॉट एवरीबडी हैज द रिसोर्सेज टू स्टार्ट देयर ओन क्लिनिक. Even if they do, are you really willing to bet that much money into something new? जब आपको पता है कितनी gatekeeping हुई है.
And how many clinics will people open, right? Like,
exactly.
Like there should be more work for dentists. There should be more opportunity उस तरह से.
क्या जब आप अपनी आवाम की डेंटल हेल्थ के ऊपर ही वो नहीं कर रहे हो, फोकस नहीं कर रहे हो, मतलब people
awareness तो वैसे काम है, so there's a need for demand creation in the first place, and then obviously Zahir, I'm hoping that when there is more demand, then obviously more opportunity as well. So there is that gap as well.
because अभी भी इतना बड़ा concept ये है कि दांत में दर्द जो है ना, that is your cue to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
When exactly that is your cue to be worried कि अब हम final stage पे जा चुके हैं, मेरे दांत में दर्द शुरू हो चुका है, you know, the disease has
basically वो कहते हैं कि dentistry जो है it's a preventive treatment उसमें ज़्यादा होती है कि where you are supposed to visit the dentist every 6 months and he will be able to see and predict all the problems that you can have in the future, which is why actually a lot of dentists वो बेचारे ऐसे ही बदनाम होते हैं कि हम dentist के पास एक चीज़ कहते हैं वो 10 कहते हैं क्योंकि वो पैसे no actually they can really see the problems
बात है कि दांत दोबारा नहीं आ सकता, उसको रोकना है
और वो उसको नजर आ रही है प्रॉब्लम्स, एंड इन फैक्ट अगर वो आप अभी ट्रीट नहीं करोगे तो आपको बाद में ऐसी डज पड़ेगी पैसों की कि उससे बेहतर है कि आप उससे अभी करा लो जो वो कह रहे हैं।
डज यार, अब तुम ये देखो ना, एक दांत जो कि इफ इट्स सैल्वेजेबल एंड यू हैव ब्रॉट इट टू अ पॉइंट वेयर आई हैव टू एक्सट्रैक्ट इट एंड देन यू लाइक डॉक्टर तो दांत निकाल दे, आप उसको दांत निकालने वाले पॉइंट पे लेके आ रहे हो। तो यार द ग्रेजुएशन ब्लूज आर रियल। आई एम द पैशन एंड द एनर्जी and the love that I had in me to actually be a dentist is slowly dying because of how less opportunities I've been presented with. ठीक है, तो ये सीन है। देखो, probably things will change for better in the future or probably not, but for now it's just, मैं यही वाली बात करती हूँ ना कि जब मैं लोगों को बोलती हूँ कि यार सिर्फ ये देख के डॉक्टर नहीं बनो कि डॉक्टर हैं, ठीक है, because degree does not guarantee you opportunities, it does not guarantee you growth. Now I see skills surpassing and bypassing degrees, you know, because इकोनॉमी इस तरह की है ना, जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज जब तक होंगी तब तक आपकी डिग्री काम कर सकती है। जहाँ पे रेस ही सर्वाइवल ऑफ द फिटेस्ट वाली चल रही है तो वहाँ पे तो आपका स्किल आपको लेके चलेगा ना। माई कॉन्टेंट क्रिएशन इज मेकिंग मी मोर मनी देन माई डिग्री कैन मेक मी इन द नेक्स्ट 10 years if I have to, if things are going to be the way that they are right now.
That's the thing, like, you know, when you have this and you like doing this and it's working for you, and then there is this other thing जो कि no matter how much you love but उसके अंदर, so for me जैसे it's like कि मैं ये काम कर रही हूँ and obviously it takes my time and then I have a family and then I have a baby and then I have this work, और फिर मैं सोचूं कि अच्छा नहीं मैं फिर भी ना एक क्लिनिक में काम कर लेती हूँ just to make this, that when you think about practically that is just so dumb because I'm not really getting to do anything there. The money that I'm getting is so less.
Exactly.
So it's just a waste of my time and I'm compromising on the time that I can be spending with my family.
Exactly.
You know, I agree. It's not even about the money, it's about where is the growth. It's so slow.
It's about the growth, yes. It's so slow.
Yeah, most of my friends they're like यार यहाँ पे तो बहुत bad scene है, निकलो यहाँ से, पाकिस्तान से निकलो, अगर डेंटिस्ट बनना है तो यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं होगा। And which is why I've also seen that there's a trend of, like, it's a thing, dentist come falana, dentist, like there's lots of people who are dentists but they're not
doing something else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's because the industry is very discouraging.
It is. It's discouraging, it's saturated, there are no opportunities, and even with our degree, I'm sorry, again, I do not want to offend anybody, but our degree is the biggest scam.
Okay,
हमने बाहर जाना है।
अच्छा, हाँ, उसकी जो credibility है
as a BTS student, as a BTS graduate, if I have to go to let's say UK or America, they'll be like नहीं ये टेस्ट दो, उसके बाद भी आपका BTS तो हम एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं करें ना, वो तो हमारे लिए रिकग्नाइजेबल ही नहीं ना, आप MDS
नहीं, जैसे US में तो चलो you have to do DDS, UK का still better, आपने ORE देना है and then
you can go there,
yeah, you can practice,
but how difficult it is to get into UK.
Yeah, of course.
ये वाली बात भी है ना, जो जगहें आसान है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल फॉर आई थिंक यूरोप इज़ वेरी ईजी फॉर यू टू सर्वाइव एक्चुअली, स्कॉटलैंड ये वाली सारी जगहें, ठीक है, UAE इज़ वेरी नाइस। अब UAE में जाने के लिए 4 साल का एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए, ठीक है, स्कॉटलैंड यूरोप में जाने के लिए तो आपकी डिग्री एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है ना, उसमें तो वो कहते हैं आप पहले ये, और चलो आप कर भी लोगे। अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल मुझे अगर सर्जरी का शौक है, मैं सर्जरी नहीं परसू कर सकती कहीं पे भी, क्योंकि मुझे उसके लिए they don't consider us surgeons, yes, you know, like हमारी सर्जरी they don't accept, they like नहीं आप 3 साल का MBBS पूरा
करना पड़ेगा, हाँ,
आप MBBS करें फिर आप एज ए डेंटल सर्जन काम कर सकते हैं। तो हमें यहीं पे वो चीज़ कराना शुरू कर दो यार, 5 साल पढ़ा तो रहे हो, वो भी करो। तो खैर एजुकेशन सिस्टम क्या कह सकते हैं।
Okay, now let's talk about Serendipity.
Yes.
कैसे स्टार्ट किया? What was the thought? How did it happen?
Honestly, I never thought I would start a business. I just didn't really, like, I didn't explore that side of me or anything. I didn't think I was made.
Did someone
for it.
approach you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody approached me and they were like, so we want to start a business by your name, and you don't have to invest, and you can have a certain percentage. And मैंने सोचा हाँ चलो ठीक है, good idea, करके देख लेते हैं. फिर जब मैंने उस चीज़ को करना शुरू किया, आई रियलाइज हाउ पैशनेट आई वॉज अबाउट इट. लाइक क्योंकि जब उन्होंने डिस्कशन स्टार्ट की तो इट वॉजंट जस्ट कि हाँ ठीक है मुझे तो परसेंटेज मिलनी है, प्रोडक्ट बनाओ, चीज़ बनाओ, बेच दो. आई वॉज एक्चुअली फुली एक्टिवली
इंटरेस्टेड इन द प्रोडक्ट.
हाँ कि नहीं ये ऐसे नहीं है मेरा नाम. एंड आई रियलाइज कि इट वॉज initially it was more about my credibility that I've built over years.
If you are creating something तो आपकी
I'm just saying मैंने ऐसी चीज़, बेशक मेरी इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं है, जो कुछ है, बेशक मेरा नाम है, मुझे पता है चीज़ बिकेगी, मुझे पैसे मिलेंगे, मैं ख़त्म भी कर सकती हूँ उसको किसी पॉइंट पे. मैंने कहा नहीं यार अगर मैं एक चीज़ कर रही हूँ ना तो लेट्स डू इट प्रॉपरली. So then after the first launch it was alhamdulillah success. We were sold out in a few hours. It was so good. जब सेकेंड की बारी आई तो मैंने कहा no, I want to be a partner. Now I don't want the percentage. I want to invest and I want to be an active partner.
Okay.
And that is when I took over and we realigned all the the contract, and then rest is history. And then I'm so invested into it क्योंकि अब obviously अब एक चीज़ उसको मुझे अब मेरा दिल करता है कि मैं करूँ. अच्छा अब ये भी वो हर वक्त दिमाग में चल रहा था, हम ये भी कर सकते हैं, ये भी कर सकते हैं. तो this is how that is how it started. But then I realized that I'm actually really passionate about it. So फिर we just went with the flow. This time.
Setting up so business करने में what were some things that you learned about setting up a business, or what do you think your journey was like? Was it difficult, or was it something that you did not find very difficult? What was the journey like? Were there some obstacles you had?
Initially it was very difficult. I have never talked about it, but the people that I started with didn't work out with them.
Acha.
Except for the one person who was my supplier, sort of like the person who was basically
making the product.
So there was a middleman. Then there was this person who was providing me with all the resources, and then there was me. So it didn't work out with the middleman, because the middleman was also an investor, and he made sure that it was completely impossible for me to do it without him, because he took it personally.
समझिए मैं मुझे start से समझ आ गई when you said कि the middleman is the problem.
जब मुझे मसला नहीं है और सप्लायर को मसला नहीं है कि हम एक पार्टनरशिप कर लें, तुम तो ऑलरेडी मिडलमैन थे ना. तो अगर तुम्हारा तो मसला सप्लायर के साथ है, सप्लायर ने कहा कि भाई तुम निकलो, अब मैं इसके साथ काम कर रहा हूँ. तो अब if you have to edit it out, but I literally legit I was scared for my life. ये सीन था मेरे साथ, ठीक है. I was so scared for my life. I used to cry. मेरे वेबसाइट को हैक करने की चिंता on the launch day पे ट्रैफिक आ रही है, वेबसाइट क्रैश हो गई है. Not because of the traffic, but because of it hacking attempts. तो this is how. फिर उसके बाद there was this one time कि we went out of stock, and we were like, how did we go out of stock इतनी जल्दी? तो पता लगा किसी ने fake order place किया हुआ है पूरे stock का.
People do that. Yeah, that happens.
And then फिर बैड माउथिंग अलहदा, और फिर इनिशियली तो मतलब मुझे कॉल्स आना, थ्रेटनिंग कॉल्स आना कि तुम हाउ डे यू ट्राई टू टेक ओवर समथिंग दैट वाज हमारी ये वो फलां. मेरा नाम है, मेरे नाम से एक ब्रांड चला है. इफ इट वर you could have started yourself.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like so a lot of the times I was approached for this as well, but this is something that I realized before, that if somebody wants to create a business with you because of your name, that's a red flag. Because the entire thing is actually you, and it's because of you, and I know that this happens to a lot of influencers के लोग उनके पास आते हैं and they want to do that business with them. And I'm not saying that everybody is bad, like for some people that works out really. Yeah, because the thing is that जो eventually because the truth is कि you feel like because you don't have the money to invest, or you're not putting in the money, you feel like you are the lesser important one in this, which is not true, because money is not something that
it's
can.
not even an issue now.
The thing is that no, it's not an issue. And Urooj, money is not something that makes or breaks a brand.
Exactly.
That is a very wrong concept. Where people think कि पैसों के बगैर एक तो business set नहीं हो सकता, और that money है तो you can have all the money, shitloads of money, but if you don't know how to sell it,
exactly,
it's not going to
if
run.
If you don't have the knowledge about it, if you don't have the knowledge about the marketing, how to present the product,
marketing, if you don't have knowledge about the product, if you don't have knowledge about the marketing, if you don't know how to sell the product,
you can't sell
then
it.
you can have billions of rupees,
and you won't be able to make an empire out of it.
Exactly. But your business will not work.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is so true.
Yes. So the realization of the fact that you are the main asset and it is you who is driving the sales.
Exactly. And that I had the realization, and I think that is something that a lot of people couldn't digest. Na? तो मेरे लिए तो वो initial second launch was very, very, very difficult. मैं अक्सर लोगों को बोलती हूँ कि my actual sweat and tears went into this brand.
I know,
and they
I'm sure.
actual tears went into it. मुझे यहाँ तक calls आई हैं कि तुम 2% की ब्लॉगर हो, तुम्हें क्या लगता है तुम बिजनेस चलाओगी और हमारे बगैर बिजनेस कर सकती हो. और मुझे टू अ पॉइंट वेयर आई हैड टू गिव देम बहुत stern किस्म की shut up call के bro, now I'm going to involve authorities, what's wrong with you, like let it go man, so yeah, it was very difficult, but alhamdulillah ab it's very streamlined, everything is fine, and I'm surrounded by a very nice team, I have a very nice audience and a very loyal customer base, people who are buying the product, they're buying it again and again and again, and the reviews, everything, alhamdulillah, for now it's working out very, very well.
Chalo, I'm so happy to know that. Thank you. And congratulations. But the thing is that whenever somebody starts a business, it's such a, for me, like it's such a good happy feeling, because लोगों को जो एक business नजर आता है ना, उसके पीछे minimum 2 साल लगे होते हैं, and I know like कि उसके अंदर कितनी effort लगी होती है, कितनी मेहनत और कितने problems उसके अंदर आए होते हैं. I'm sure there are some people out there who didn't have to go through it, but for most people it's not an easy ride. There's always something.
We have had this discussion before as well कि for us it's more difficult because it's हमारा रिलेशनशिप ऐसा है ऑडियंस के साथ,
a lot is at stake.
हाँ, हमारे पास प्रेशर ज़्यादा है क्योंकि हमारे से एक्सपेक्टेशन बहुत ज़्यादा है.
Like and this brings me to our discussion yesterday that if there's somebody else, because you have a very personal relationship with your followers and they know the person behind the brand, it's very easy for them to attack you over every tiny thing, especially the price.
Exactly, because like, they have to set amount, वो एक एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट हुई है ना कि ये बाय रूज का ब्रांड है, ये हमारा ब्रांड है,
ये हमारे लिए करेंगे और ये हमारे लिए सस्ता, but it's not possible, because at the end of the day with the business, like you are putting in money. It's not you know what I'm saying? It's not a charity or non-profit.
थोड़ा सा लोगों को ये बात समझने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि we are trying to do something good for them, but at the end of the day we're also trying to make money for ourselves, and it's a business. We are not dealing with it as an influencer. We're dealing with it as a business. If
you're putting your time and effort into it, obviously you need to make something out of it. Or basically like people just असल में लोगों को पता नहीं होता कि actually how much money all of this takes. So उनको ये लगता है कि profit margins बहुत बड़े रखे हुए हैं. They actually just really like बहुत ज़्यादा पैसे ले रहे हैं हमसे और इतना इनको तो नहीं पड़ा होगा, ये लोग तो ऐसे हैं, like there's that. So they're really unaccepting of the cost of stuff. So I think उसमें like I think people need to sort of understand that that's not true. Nobody is, for any smart person who's running a business, they would really not. Nobody wants to sell something too expensive. Nobody wants to do that because they know अगर बहुत महंगी होगी तो बिकेगी भी तो नहीं ना.
मुझे एक बात बताओ, 3 साल पहले ब्रांड शुरू हुआ, 3 साल से अभी तक वही प्राइसेस हैं. तो मेरा तो प्रॉफिट मार्जिन कम से कम हो रहा है ना. इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ी है, इट्स अफेक्टिंग मी एज वेल ना. मेरी भी तो लेबर की कॉस्ट बढ़ी है, मेरी तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की कॉस्ट बढ़ी है,
हर चीज की.
एग्जैक्टली. तो वो चीज लोग नहीं देखते. लोगों को लगता है कि जो बेच रहा है बस वो कमा रहा है, वो कमा नहीं रहा, वो इन्वेस्ट भी कर रहा है. ये चीज है.
राइट. सो आई थिंक दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ ब्रिंग्स एन एंड टू दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन. That was a lot of fun, Urooj. Thank you so much.
It was very nice being here. It was very different.
What do you mean by that?
It was very, what do I mean by that? It was very like I feel like we covered everything, but very like बड़े एक compact तरीके से. मैं मतलब तारीफ में गई.
मतलब you're saying कि like बहुत ज़्यादा rambling नहीं थी,
हाँ, रैमलिंग नहीं थी, लाइक वो
हाँ.
जैसे होता है ना पॉडकास्ट, आपकी एक एक्सपेक्टेशन होती है कि बात चलेगी निकलेगी नहीं. आई रियली लाइक द फैक्ट कि वी एक्चुअली हैड लाइक कॉन्वर्सेशंस अबाउट ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स एंड एवरीथिंग वाज कवर्ड. कुछ इस तरह से नहीं था कि मुझे लगा कि मैंने पर्सनल लाइफ के बारे में बहुत बोल दिया यार, मैं इंस्टाग्राम के बारे में बात करती रहेगी यार. नहीं, एवरीथिंग वाज कवर्ड. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग.
चलो, thank you so much, Rooj. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed being here. It was very nice being here,
चलो, I
honestly.
hope you guys enjoyed it as well. बहुत मज़े की conversation थी, and like I said before as well कि बहुत अरसे से रूज को मैं लाना चाह रही थी अपनी podcast पे.
मैं बहुत अरसे से मैं अक्सर बोल रही होती हूँ कि आई एन्जॉय वॉचिंग दिस पॉडकास्ट सो मच. मैंने बताया भी आई थिंक इस तरह की बात इंस्टाग्राम पे आई डिड कि आई एक्चुअली रियली एन्जॉय द होल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ हैप्पी चर्प.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Please tune into this episode, and also don't forget to like and subscribe and leave comments about what you thought of this conversation, and if you have your own 2 cents to add about this कि आपको क्या लगता है, and if there's any aspect you would want me to highlight in any future conversations, please leave that below as well, and I'll see you again next time. Allah Hafiz.